Welcome to Daily Upgrade with Jason Andrews. My name is Jason Andrews, and I'm a hypnotist, which is really cool because that means I know how to change things on the inside to make things better. And if you're here, that probably means that you like it when things get better. You like it when you get better. You like it when people around you get better. And that's what I'm here for, too. And today I want to talk about the spiritual war or energy war frame. And while I talk about it, I'll be doing some work under the hood, rewiring your brain in real time. And the first thing we want to do is sort of center ourselves. So we're going to take a deep breath in, hold it for just a moment, and then let everything go. Ready? Breathe in, hold it, and let it all go. And the next thing we're going to do is just take all these places where your thoughts have been up to this point today, and we're just going to gather them all in and bring everything in here. So you can focus in. Now, today we're talking about the spiritual or energy war frame. And this is just like any other frame or stance or filter or lens or whatever you want to call it. This isn't what's really happening. I mean, maybe it is, but I don't know. If you want to argue about, what's really happening, I don't always know. But I do know that this is a very useful frame from which to explore reality because it seems to work a lot. It seems to work. And I'm certainly not the only person in history who has ever noticed this. And the general idea is that there are multiple layers to existence, to reality. Okay, we have the physical reality, right? Physical things, you know, the material world, physical things. And then Plato, the Greek philosopher, said you have the theory, you have the realm of patterns, the realm of forms, where there's a kind of ideal concept or pattern or template of things. And there's an entire level of reality in which those patterns exist, right? And the idea is, okay, if I build a house out of Legos, and then I take all the Legos apart, where did the house go? And at first you're like, no, no. I mean, it's a harder question than it at first seems. But as far as I can tell, is that there is some level of reality that contains patterns. And the thing about that is, there's multiple um, media, right? I shouldn't say it that way because it sounds like information distribution, but more like mediums, right? You can have a pattern in your head, right? I can think about something and I can create a pattern, and I'm going to call that pattern pencil, right? And I can think of it and conceptualize it. Now, there's also a pattern on the physical level where it's this pencil, right? Make sense? Okay. Now, Plato was not the only one, obviously, to think this. It was a very ancient, ancient, ancient idea. And most systems of esoteric or energy work or any other understanding has at least two layers. They've all got physical and they've all got the sort of, what do you call it? The mental. Okay. But then there's another, some systems have three and some systems have four. And the systems in the four level system, you've got the material world, you've got the world of emotions and intentions, right? Because an emotion is just an intention, right? It's just an intent to do something and trying to get you to do something. So then above that, you've got the mental level, which is roughly corresponds to Plato's theory level of patterns and forms. And then the highest level is the level of spirit or pure energy or that sort of level. But however you slice it, okay, some systems have the mental and emotional levels in a single level, but and some are just two levels. So you have the theoretical and the real. And but however you slice it, there's this persistent idea that humans just keep rediscovering again and again and again, no matter what happens. And it's the idea, and I think it's it's even called the perennial philosophy. And the idea is that the universe and us, we co-create reality. Okay, now if this is getting way too woo-woo for you, don't worry about it. You know, well, I'll bring it down into more concrete terms. Because when I at first thought, I thought, eh, I could see how if you think of something first and then you can create it. I get that. And if I see something, then I can create a mental model. So at the very least, I can understand that level, those two levels exist. I get it, right? But the older, as I go through life and the more experience I get, the more I've seen things like zeitgeists happen. And the zeitgeist is just the spirit of the age. It's this thing where everybody just seems to assume the same supposition about what's happening, right? The Renaissance was a big zeitgeist. Everybody was exploring and doing smart things and figuring, and then there was like a zeitgeist about woke craziness, in I don't know the last 10 years or so, and then um, in the last maybe I don't know 2 3 years we're getting into an anti woke zeitgeist. But there have been many zeitgeists. And it's not just that each individual person goes, okay, I think I'm going to figure this out. And now I think this, and that makes sense. So I'm going to adopt this idea. No, that's not how it works. It's this subconscious, um, continual flow of ideas that seem to reach people who aren't even part of the conversation. It seems to spread way too fast and too far to be perfectly mechanical. And I've seen that enough times that I thought, well, could you just, go directly and change the zeitgeist at the zeitgeist level? Because there's lots of people who are doing the persuasion thing. Let me change people's minds and emotions, and then they'll do different things in reality. But there's more to it than that. I think because if you could change the zeitgeist directly, then you could change what everybody thinks that's by the zeitgeist, and you would start making major differences in the world. Now, this could also just be a sum total of persuasion, but again, it seems to me that it works. It's way too strong for that. So I started looking into this and researching and doing some looking into ancient philosophies and things like this, and I found this everywhere, like everywhere, everywhere. And it started, my first thing was when I found Plato, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I'm talking about. There's a pattern here that seems to be shifted from the pattern of people's minds to the pattern of to the medium of reality. That same pattern gets transferred from one medium to another. And then, well, could you transfer a pattern from one of these to another one? Well, yeah, you can use words and things like that. Could you do it without communication, without direct words? I don't know. I don't know. So here's where I'm going with all of this. What I have seen this is a pattern I recognize. And again, I could be wrong about this, but I know that millions of people throughout history have independently also discovered this same idea, that when you things that change in the spiritual realm, the mental realm, the emotional realm, tend to happen in the physical realm somehow. even if you can't map out the cause and effect patterns. And this is the perennial philosophy that we co create the universe with the universe. Right? Here's another way of thinking about it. I was had a debate with someone on Twitter, and I said, okay, well, the universe is conscious. And he was like, no, it isn't. That's just, woo woo cope from people who want to believe there's more than there is in the world, in the universe. I said, okay, well, let's define the universe. The universe is everything. Everything, all thoughts, emotions, feelings, all ideas, everything. If there's anything that's outside the universe, then it's actually inside the universe because the universe is everything, right? Acceptable definition of the universe? And he's like, yes. And I said, let's define consciousness. And I said, no, that's going to take too long. Let me just do this. Are you conscious? And I asked him that, and he said, well, yes, I'm conscious. And I said, okay, the universe is conscious. And it took him a minute to figure it out. But if he's part of the universe and he's conscious, then the universe is conscious. Because my consciousness, your consciousness, is the universe's consciousness. Because we are part of the universe. Our consciousness, our understanding of the universe, is the universe's understanding of itself. Right? Because we are not separate from the universe. We are the universe. We're part of the universe. We're not outside the universe by definition. Okay? Now, sometimes that blows people's minds, but there's another example too. There's have you ever seen an ant colony? You ever had an ant colony in your yard or anything like that? It's weird, right? So in grad school I did this thing where we studied how to we tried to program a simulation of ants. And it was real simple. It was like, ant, go off in a random direction. If you find food, take a piece of it, go back to the colony, and leave a scent trail that back to the colony. Okay, and then go back and get another piece and come back. And if you're another ant and you come across a scent trail and you don't have food in your mouth, if you're not carrying food, go in the direction of the weaker scent trail to find the food. Because if the ants come in this way, over time the trail gets weaker. And so it goes over there and it picks up a piece, and it follows the trail back again. And then suddenly you got like 5,000 ants, dismantling some cracker that somebody left somewhere. It's pretty wild. But it's only like 3 lines of code to map out that behavior. It's like 3 lines of code. But and then the professor said something really fascinating to me. He said ants are really stupid. They just have like 3 lines of code determining their entire amount of behavior. He said, but the ant colony itself as a whole is really smart. That ant colony can feed itself. That ant colony can defend itself. Right? If you consider it as a whole, as an item, as an intelligent thing, it has some form of intelligence where all the ants collectively together make up a single thing that has way more intelligence than any of the individual ants involved with it. And he left it there, but I kept thinking, what if the whole universe is like is just that same thing, but way more complicated, way more complex, right? What if we are all just some continuum of the universe getting more and more complex so it can manage itself and think about itself? And our thoughts, because we're in the universe, are the universe thinking about itself and figuring things out. In order for that to be useful, there would have to be a mechanism by which the universe can change itself. And obviously, we, as the universe's consciousness, we can change things physically. That's simple. We all do that all the time. Okay. But can we change things mentally? Can we change things theoretically, right? There's got to be a mechanism for that. If that's how it works, there's got to be a mechanism for that. So this is my train of thought on this. Now, I'm not here to convince you that it's correct or incorrect or anything like that, because if you have followed me for any length of time, you know that I'm a big fan of having multiple different frames or filters or perspectives and exploring something from multiple different frames and perspectives in order to get better information and triangulate a better read on it. So this is simply one of the frames. Now, to me, this seems like a very difficult to disprove frame, especially with all these, double slit experiments coming out, and variations of that where the observation changes the outcome, and things like quantum entanglement and collapsing the wave function of reality to make, like it's not, something isn't really here or there until it gets observed. It's like could be here or could be there, but then when you observe it, poof, it picks one of them. Well, who's doing the observing? Well, we are. So this is a very basic treatment of the whole idea. But where I'm going, and this is going to be part one. Tomorrow I'm going to go into part two about this. But if all this is a frame worth exploring, and there's some usefulness to this, and it has some efficiency or effectiveness, then would it not possibly be worth exploring the way to directly work on things at the spiritual level, the energetic level? Because we got the persuasion, which is in the mental and emotional level. We got the physical, which is like I'm, sending troops to physically do something. But up here at the spiritual or energetic level, if we could get that going, would that not naturally cascade down and change things at the physical level almost automatically? Because if you have your own thoughts and you're coming up with your own thoughts, great. But where do thoughts come from? Are we sure that we're the ones having the thoughts? Or is the universe having thoughts using our hardware and software? And if that's the case, can we do something about that? Can we use that? And this is the fundamental axiom of all forms of mysticism. It's actually at the very core of most religion. Any type of esotericism, any type of occultism, any type of manifestation work, any type of energetic. It's this, the idea is that which is above is like that which is below, and that which is below is like that which is above. The patterns can transfer. So that's the spiritual or energy war frame. And I say war just to be a little, inflammatory about it, but it doesn't have to be a war. It's just a harmonious correlation between all these things. They synchronize these different levels. They synchronize across each other. So if you pull a lever in this one, then maybe it'll synchronize upwards. If you pull a lever in this one, maybe it'll synchronize downwards. And that's the idea. So I've been really exploring this idea a lot. And if you watched my live stream yesterday where I talked about the what to do with the Iran war, we tried something with that protocol that we used yesterday to work directly at this level, see what happens. I don't think there's any downside to that. And with so many people throughout history, and so many, and not just normal people, but like extraordinarily talented and intelligent people, I couldn't dismiss this. The more I explored it, the more I was not able to just dismiss it, because there are too many people who independently came to the idea. But we tried that yesterday. Let's see if it works. See if it does anything. But tomorrow, I'm going to talk about the second half of this, which is something along the lines of how this works, or how to use it, and maybe to explore examples of how this has been done in the past. So thank you for being here with me today. If you enjoyed this or found this interesting, feel free to share it with others. And I'll be here tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning to talk about the second half. So join me there, and we will continue the conversation.